Namaste, beloveds. Today I wanted to explore the topic of do you know too much? And is it getting in the way of you opening to the freshness of the unknown and letting a deeper truth emerge? Very often in the journey, and certainly I'm a culprit in this, I've noticed when people have had so many degrees, so many diplomas, so many accreditations, and they've got all these degrees listed next to their names, they never stop to inquire, is what I have learned actually true? And so they bring all this hard-earned supposed knowledge to the journey. And I find there's so much knowledge there that they can't get past it to open into the freshness of the deeper knowledge that is not learned knowledge or book knowledge or factual knowledge, but a deeper wisdom that springs from an inspired place of genius. And I find that actually having this whole load of degrees will actually get in their way of being innocent, being curious, actually opening up to what their own soul has to reveal to them, what truth, what life has to reveal to them, which may have nothing to do with anything they've ever learned before. And I was reminded of a story that some of you may actually have heard of, is about an enlightened master who's sitting on top of a very high mountain in the Himalayas. And there's this one scholar, this pundit, who has learned everything there is to learn about enlightenment. He's read all the spiritual texts. He's gotten multiple doctorate degrees in religion, in spirituality. He knows everything there is to know about the whole field of religion and spirituality. And of course, the years and years of studying for decades and decades, and then becoming a well-known and revered scholar in his own right. And he knew he was only missing one piece, that he needed to sit at the feet of an enlightened master to get that timeless, wordless transmission so that he could finally become enlightened. Now, he knew all the mantras that you're supposed to do. He knew all the holy scriptures. He knew all the steps to enlightenment. He knew what paths other saints had been on. But it's one thing to know all of this mentally and intellectually, and it's a wholly different experience to be able to experience enlightenment arising from your own direct living experience as a wordless knowing, not born from any outside knowledge or external beliefs or external facts that may or may not actually be true. So he's getting towards the end of his life, and he just needs this tiny piece in order to be enlightened. And so he decides he's going to visit this famous recluse, this master sitting on his mountaintop high in the Himalayas. And he travels through the whole of India, and he finally, goes as far as he can and then has to walk the rest of the way. And it's taken months to get there. He finally arrives in this tiny village at the top of this mountain. And he says to one of the devotees who are sitting there quietly, I've come all this way. I've been working in this field. I have doctorates in all these different areas. I have all this knowledge. I am now getting on in life, and I need the final piece that the master needs to give me. And so please, will you let the master know that I have finally arrived and I need to see him? So the the innocent and humble disciple in his monk's robes, he writes down all the accolades and all the scholarship, all the knowledge, all the degrees, all the conferences this man has held, all the way he's revered as a scholar at the pinnacle of this field. And he takes it into the master. Now, the master doesn't come out. He's mainly a master who sits in silence most of the time. And he doesn't come out or welcome this pundit to come in. And a day goes by, and now this pundit is getting agitated because doesn't he know who I am? I'm the top scholar in the world in this field. I know everything there is to know about enlightenment. I'm just coming to the master for that final piece. He doesn't have to give me any big teachings. And so he goes to the devotee again, and he says to him, this humble monk, he says, did you tell him all the degrees I have and all the scholarly achievements I have? And on and on. He said, yes, I wrote it all down. It's here on a piece of paper. Please, will you go back and let him know who's sitting on his doorstep waiting to be seen? I wish to have an audience with the master. The monk goes in, speaks to the master, and comes out and says nothing. Another day goes by. At this point, this hugely knowledgeable man is starting to rage around this little village. That doesn't the master know who he is? Doesn't the master realize the kind of scholar he has sitting here waiting for that final transmission? And still, the master will not see him. And at the end of a week, where this scholar is getting to a point where he's saying, I'm just going down. He must not be a real enlightened master if he doesn't want to see the person who's at the top of this area in this field. If he doesn't want to see me, then he must not be enlightened. And he's getting ready to leave. And the master finally welcomes him in for an audience. So his feathers really ruffled, and this pundit goes in to sit by the master, and the master's sitting quietly in meditation. And he has 2 cups in front of him. And he starts pouring tea into his own teacup. And then quietly says, would you like some tea? And taken aback that those are the first words coming out of a master's mouth, the scholar says, well, yes. And so the master just looks into his eyes and starts pouring the tea. And the cup overflows, and he keeps pouring. And he keeps pouring. And he keeps pouring. And looking into the pundit's eyes. The pundit says, Master, what are you doing? This cup is overflowing. It's overflowing. And he's thinking inside, what, has he lost his mind? And the master said, you are like this teacup. You're so full of tea. You're so full of all this knowledge. It's just pouring and pouring off of you. There is nothing I can offer you. I only offer this transmission to someone with an empty cup, whose mind is free from all this external knowledge. Come to me with an empty cup, and then maybe you will find out what enlightenment is. Often when I'm in the journey and someone comes with all their degrees and factual knowledge in front of them, it acts as a barrier to them opening and just surrendering into the unknown and letting the deeper truth arise from a place of no mind. So if you're finding that all your hard-earned knowledge is getting in the way. You might want to try doing what I do. Is every time I sit to have a journey process, and by the way, when I'm on tour, I have a journey process once a week and have done for the last 25 years. I never want to be so arrogant to think I've got it all figured out. I'll be a student of life till the day I die. But one thing I do before every single process is I throw away all my expertise, all my degrees, all my accreditations, my certificates, and my hard-earned knowledge of what the journey is and does. And I throw it all out. And I approach a journey process with the innocence of a child, with an empty cup, so that grace can flood in to fill this cup with the wordless knowing of this infinite intelligence. And so give it a shot. What have you got to lose but some arrogance of mind? What have you got to gain but freedom and wisdom born from the unknown? So a heartfelt namaste.